Okay. So go this way. All right, so we're going to do, I don't believe we've done this at TCC, a portfolio interview. I think we rarely do portfolios. You know how we do. All right, so you're here for your time. I'm going to open up your portfolio. And then I will sit down and join us. And I'm going to open up your table of contents. And actually have all your documents here. This is your, well actually I'll show you. Did you try the links by the way after you linked it?
Yes.
Okay.
They all come up.
Yes, they do, because I of course checked it before I issued your information. So your narrative is about you, your descriptive is about Queen Charlotte, so looks can be deceiving. Then you did your compare and contrast on Etta James. And then of course we know about the debate or the argument and persuasive, which was the debate. And then your research essay on the Virginia legend, the Reverend Dr. Thomas F. Freeman. So what I'll do, where to begin? One, what did you enjoy or not enjoy about your narrative essay? Or what was a challenge, or what would you like to review with that?
The challenge was actually putting things about myself down on a piece of paper and not.
And make sure you speak up so you won't get hearing you.
I think that the biggest challenge was writing things on a piece of paper about myself, like gathering my thoughts about me, because I don't really have a lot of time to think about myself. I have so much other stuff going on, so to have to take some time and actually focus on myself was a big challenge for me. But once I started doing it, it was like, what do I really write about myself? What do I put on paper? And then we did the outline, and I kind of like went on it, and then I was like, I didn't like it. Then, I don't know, I think as doing it later, after we went through like doing other papers, I think it was easier to go back and kind of organize everything, because I knew what I was doing. I knew actually how to complete an outline, what was needed in the sentences, what was needed in the paragraph, not running on, talking about things that weren't even on the topic, you know what I mean? So I think that was a challenge, and then once I figured it out, it was kind of easy. And then getting your feedback was helpful, you know.
Yeah, you did show up to tutoring a few times just to get some guidance, so that was appreciative. And I think from that, do you feel like you were able to expand on your writing skills in regards to?
Yeah, of course. Like everything that I got from the class, I think I internalized it. I don't think there was anything that I took negatively from the class. I probably had some negative for myself because I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. Like, you know what I mean? Just ready to give up. But I knew that at the end, you all had my back, so I knew that you weren't going to allow that anyhow. Like if I didn't show up, you were going to call or text or email and be like, bro, get your butt here. You got some work to be done. And then, yeah, I think that was the hardest part, is actually being able to talk about yourself. Like, you don't talk about yourself. Usually when people have a conversation, they're talking about somebody else. You never really talk about yourself, because you don't want to sound like, oh, you have a big head, or, you know what I'm saying? It's just hard to like put your thoughts together about yourself, and it actually can break you down, because you're like, oh, that's how I feel about myself? Like, oh my God. You know what I mean?
What did you realize then, because you also chose to like write your narrative in third person, what did you realize after writing your narrative about yourself?
That I'm awesome.
Good job.
I'm great. Like I do have some really good qualities about myself. I mean, you don't really know them until you actually have to write about yourself. I think more people should write about themselves.
Okay, we'll move on to the descriptive. That seems like that was another challenge for you.
It was.
And what was the challenge? I wanted to say when we addressed it in class, which was the day you missed it, and that's okay. Was it about colorism? Was it anything dealing with that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, express yourself.
It was. Okay, so first, when you first gave it to me, I had such a connection with the photo. And it was like, okay. But then I think what happened is I the research part about her was challenging because there wasn't enough information about her that you could actually say, like, this, she was they have her labeled as the first Black queen, but the photo that you gave only touches barely on her African or her ethnicity. And looking at the photo, there was like so much to say, but not enough information to like back it up. Do you know what I'm saying?
And that's the reason why I said descriptive, but you end up doing that quite well.
'Cause I
talking about
did.
her skin complexion, her hair, and
Yeah.
I kept saying, think about like, what is it? Is it like cotton? And think about your spoken
Right.
word and your poetry and your words in regards to
That was it right there. That's all I needed, was a little bit of guidance, like this is how you describe. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, you can describe something and just be like very vague, like that's black, that's tan, that's, you know what I mean?
The clinical version of a description versus
Right. You
the
need to
creative version of a
research
description.
descriptive words, and that's what I was missing. I was missing the synonyms of other words that meant the same thing to describe. Like, okay, so something that's beautiful, you also can say it's elegant, sounds better. Do you know what I'm saying? There's other words that sound better that describe, but the emotional part of that essay was very in tune with me. I was in touch with it. Like, I can relate to it because my daughter is mixed. She has African features, but when she's with her dad, she has, more so my son, but my daughter has mentioned it because she's more verbal with, looks can be deceiving. She's more verbal with it. Like my son, he doesn't even care. You know what I mean? It doesn't even matter to him. If it does matter to him, he doesn't say it. But my daughter, she'll say things like, "Daddy, why are you so white?" And I'm like, creamy. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Or I'm tan. And he'll like tell her like why. And then she'll say, "Oh, so I have like color because mommy is like brown like sugar." Do you know what I'm saying? Like brown sugar.
Yeah,
So that was like why I could relate to that picture, because it was like I was actually describing my daughter.
Okay.
So I took that, and that's where a light bulb just came on and was like, girl, just think about your daughter and what she goes through. And then come to find out, like, she has some Portuguese background. So it helped. Like, I did have a little bit of a disconnect with it in the beginning. I will say that was one of the harder ones.
And then you compare and contrast, and of course, everything we're aligning, we work with the arts in this class.
Yes.
What made you want to do your compare and contrast about Etta James and her 2 songs? What did you do, At Last and the
I'd
other
rather
one?
go blind.
Yes.
I think it was personal. It was a personal experience that I went through, an elated feeling of being in love, and then recently I had a heartbreak. So those 2 songs connected with me. I could relate to it. And Etta James, she's like a big, she's big in my household, like my family. Going back to my narrative, describing myself and my parents, and I chose that song and her because my dad and my mom both, they play her music a lot.
So thus far, before I get to the debate, so would you feel that culture has also been brought into your learning and within this classroom?
Definitely.
Okay, and what have you liked about it, or what have you learned about it, or what have you not liked about it?
I liked that we were able to discuss like a lot of things about Black culture and any other culture, like the LGBT, what is it?
Go ahead, I'm always looking at it too, yes. Give me all the letters, yes.
All of that,
Yes.
I like being able to just, because that is a culture, that's the way of life of people, you know. I enjoyed being able to listen to all of it, because I feel like in my home, it's only Black culture. That's all that you hear. But then when I go to my kid's father's family, they're Portuguese, so they're very cultured.
Mhm.
Like, everything about them is cultured. The way they eat, the way they greet people, the language they speak, how everything that they do, they celebrate holidays that we don't celebrate in America, you know what I mean? Being in touch with that, I like being a part of culture. Like, I like cultural things. And it lets me know that, you know, we're not in this one box or a circle, we're all surrounding it, you know what I mean? And I think we got that in this class, for sure.
Do you want to answer anything? I'm going to move to the debate, but if you want to address anything as we go further, or ask for anything that popped up in your mind.
No, she's covered it all, because she gave, she didn't give yes/no answers, but she kind of covered it. Anything I would ask.
Okay.
Especially touching on, learning about the Black culture in this class and moving into like the specific hip hop culture. I think that was good, and it's eye-opening as someone who's a supplemental instructor to see how the students are learning as well.
Yeah. The KRS One thing too was definitely awesome. I definitely appreciate that. That was, if anything, I saved that.
Good.
I did. I cleaned out my papers, and I organized everything so I can use it as a reference to refer back to. And then the paper part I got rid of because I have a portfolio, so I don't really need to keep all the papers. I did keep some of the ones that the first revisions,
okay, so
I can kind of see how far I don't forget where I came from. So I can have proof, look this is where I was before, and this is where I am now, I'm making progress here. Lots of progress. And Professor Sai had some, soup things in there.
Aww, and Sydney as well. We're going to then address, which now both of these tie into Uncle Thomas. The debate aspect. How did you you did well, by the way, you did great research, which was the main and important factor in that. So how did you learning about the great debaters? And then I implemented Dr. Thomas Freeman in
Yes.
regards to that, a VA legend that people either did not know or forgot about. And then we implemented the debate. How did you, and that was also a part of the arts, how did you how all that tied together? What did you like about it?
Everything about it. The research part about it, the public speaking part about it, getting feedback on how to speak in front of people, because at the end of the day, like you said, when we have a verbal, what is the word you used? You said that there's no
Extemporaneous?
There's no real documents about our
Oral tradition.
Oral tradition. Yes, that is important. You helped me make that a #1 priority, because I don't judge people, but sometimes when you're in a place and someone is speaking and the way they talk, it makes people pass judgment on them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know oral tradition and you know how to speak, and you speak where people can understand what you're saying, you actually can be heard. Because you could be having a valid point, but the way that you're making your point across or you're speaking, you might not be heard because of it. And it could be important. You know what I mean? So I feel like that was one that I made important. And then the research part about it, I enjoyed just finding out about history and how America was laid down, and the tragedies and heartache and pain people went through so that we can be happy. Do you know what I mean? And we may not be completely happy, but we have comforts in our life. Do you know what I mean? We make ourselves uncomfortable. So I feel like this debate helped with all of that. It touched so many parts of my life. I probably drove my family insane. taking over all the TVs, all the DVD players, everything inside the house, PlayStation, Xbox. Like, no, you cannot touch that. No, I need this paper. Don't touch my papers. You know, don't move my stuff. But it was enlightening. I really enjoyed that part about it. I wish that I could do a debate class. You need to pitch that.
You all gotta talk to Ms. Brown. I'm ready and willing to implement a lot of these things, because I think you all need it.
Yes.
It's something that I missed, and I wish I would have had from elementary, at the time it was junior high for me, high school, and within college. Like I said, my first debate was when I ran for vice president of the student body with my
Right.
line sister. My back door, it's Charlie, but Shanessa Page, and we ran together because we were tickets. She ran as president. That was the first time I ever recall doing a debate, and we won. But like you said, it needs to be implemented a little bit more, and it's part of the
Yes,
arts and the
it
culture.
definitely
Have you
does.
ever done a debate as well?
I have not.
It definitely helps,
Mhm.
and it teaches you how to look up information.
Mm-hmm.
It really
In the right
is.
way, yes. You can you can Google it out, and that's good. But also,
Yeah.
you were able to use the database. I think
Yeah,
as
I
well.
did, and I used movies. I went into the movie store.
And that's thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Because that, like I said, yes, you're right. That is also research and
Because
actually
I'm a
written books.
visual learner too, and I really wanted to know about the founding fathers and the frontiersmen, because, like, how did this land all get occupied, and how did all these buildings get built, and, you know, what happened? How did it happen? And that's one nation. How did it even begin? So you have to go back to that to find out how it is one nation. You know, we've definitely made some steps towards one nation.
So we're gonna get on your research paper, which was very good, within content, length. It took you some time to get there also,
Yeah.
just to organize your thoughts, but with guidance, you got there. What did you like or dislike, and I asked both sides, because you know I like to be balanced or even, about, or what was your process, or what was your challenge? What did you like about doing the research paper on Reverend
Well, you
Dr.
know, that
Thomas?
Reverend Dr. Thomas was like, as soon as you showed him, it was like, I wanna talk like that man. That was the first thing. So I was happy that I got to do some research on him. And what I didn't like is I felt like the guy who wrote the book,
I think his name was
James
Ford.
yeah, James Ford.
Is it?
I didn't like how he did not have the book as a book that you can buy inside of a bookstore. Like, I have a PDF.
Remember, it
version.
wasn't him. That was the family that shut that down. Remember, I said that.
Oh, yes. Well, that was the only thing I didn't like, because I would like to have,
A physical copy.
yes, going to my book, to the PDF version, you're not able to mark the pages.
Yeah, you
You can't feel them. You can't go back and be like, oh, this is this chapter right here. This was it. This was like it and on the spot. Like, it was, you can't do that. You gotta log in, scroll, keep scrolling, scroll again. There's no bookmarks for it. That was the only challenge I didn't like about it. But everything else I enjoyed. Learning about him as a child, you can kind of like relate, like talking about his parents bringing him to church. That was like my grandmother all the way. You going to church whether you like it or not, you got no choice. That was that. And, reading about his family facing a challenge and they still kept going. Like losing a sibling, like I thought about my siblings, like I just lost a brother back in January, but he didn't take his own life, he just was living a life that helped him take a life. She was on the right path, she was doing the right thing, she like died from a natural cause, you know what I mean? So to know that she died like that and those kids and that family just kept going, that was amazing, because I don't think I would be able to, even still now, I struggle with my brother being gone. I think about his daughters, I think about my niece graduating from high school and my brother not being there, like I think about all that. But he was kind of selfish with it, and they were not selfish people. They were involved in their community, they loved giving back, they you know, still to this day, this man's about to be 100 years old, and he's still giving back. He's still completely dedicated. Like, it's like nothing breaks him. You know what I mean? He's a strong limb.
And when you said that, and for some reason in Google Docs it's looking like you didn't, hanging in did, but you did. I don't know why it's doing that. That's the technology part sometimes. But what is getting back to what you were saying? I said something to you that my mother told me from oral tradition, but it was in that book that was written. So when you said that, I was like, it's truth in that book. So that wasn't, like I said, to discredit my uncle. It was the fact that, like I said, it was how it went about being, I guess, published.
Right.
So in regards to this class, overall, what would you like to see continued? What would you like to see changed or implemented? And then as far as Sydney being a supplemental instructor, even though she's moving on, what has the bonus or not been a bonus then for her being here, if that was the case?
The extra feedback, because both of you have different feedbacks, but it's at the end the same result. You want the same result out of us. You want the best out of us. She may see something different, you see something different, but at the end of the day, it's still good, positive feedback. I think yours is more motherly and more structured and like, no, get it done like this. And she's more like auntie, like, okay, you know, this is how you're gonna do it, but this is how we do it. We do it the right way. You know, you just like, you gonna do it the right way. You gonna get it this time, I'm not playing with you. I don't got time for this. Got my own stuff going on. You gonna be all up in my way. You know? And it's good to have that balance. Because adults need that. Kids need that. Like I tell my mom all the time, if you can't be a good parent to yourself, you can't be a good parent to a child. Like, you don't belong having children if you can't parent yourself. You start with you.
She's saying neither one of us have children.
But y'all are good parents to yourself. You're dedicated. You're even good parents to like people that don't appreciate that you're a good parent to them. So I definitely can say that I think that the debate needs to be implemented in ENF too.
Would you like to see that, by the
Yes,
way, in like the other English classes?
Of course, I think it helps, and it will help with public speaking, because every person I know, young and old, in this class or in other classes, the main class they always talk about is, oh my God, I gotta take public speaking. Oh my God, I gotta take public speaking. Well, debate class could probably not replace it, but it can help with some of the anxieties of public speaking, because it's fun, it's interacting, it's you
not
know,
standing up in front of the class and giving a speech.
Right.
It's interacting with another person.
exactly, and persuading someone to do something that you agree with is easy. You know what I mean? All you have to do is talk about some valid points that you feel. Look at our president, he's persuading all kinds of things and winning at it. So I do. I think that was one that should be implemented, is the debate.
How did you feel about writing both styles within the class, MLA and APA?
It was challenging. It was. But I think once you take down the anxiety of actually having to write a paper and you really read the content that's on the MLA and APA format, you read the sections, it's easy. Because doing the reference page and the citation, the cited page was so easy once I actually had time to focus on reading what it actually entailed. Because doing the paper, doing the research, thinking about this, thinking about that, it was like, I need to organize my thoughts too.
And that's why I try to get you to do an outline.
Yes, I needed to organize I needed to outline.
Some people have said that, that's okay.
Right? It's crazy, but it's true. It's true though. But once I mean, you can definitely tell the difference, right? Like,
Mhm.
see the beginning to now, it's.
You were able to write an 8-page paper, I think, in ENF, too. This is actually, to be honest with you, what you presented in this class, I would say is already English 111. You still have a little bit to go when it comes to organizing thoughts.
Right.
But you wrote 8 pages, and this is you. We just guided you.
Right.
These are not my words or your words or whatever. I might have tweaked some things, but they were your words, and I just showed you how to restructure
Right,
them.
and that's
That is
exactly
true.
what I needed. And I like that. That's one part about having you to proofread my paper is getting me on the right track, because that's what I need, is to get on the right track and say the same thing, but say it differently so that it sounds better. That's one of my goals. That's why I love that band. God. Like, that's the kind of husband I need in my life. One that can get me all the way together, like, honey, you say it like this. But I definitely appreciated this class. I out of all of my classes, my SDV class and this class, I took the most from, which I hope that it helps me later.
I'm sure it will. What about the VA legends and current events did you feel you learned, or did you learn?
A lot about Virginia, because well, my current events were more political, because that's kind of like what's going on around me. It's easier for me to
It's where your comfort zone is.
yeah, I think I like politics. I love like earthly things about recycling and animals. I love stuff like that. That's why I chose some of those current events, because that's me. The Virginia legend part was amazing, because some of those people that you see on TV, Miss Congeniality, that's like one of my favorite movies. I even just introduced that movie to my daughter, and then Sandra Bullock, she's from Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I even told some of my family members about that lived in their entire life, that watch movies constantly. I mean, they got a whole theater full of movies with Virginia legends in it. Didn't even know these people were born in Virginia. Had no idea. My cousins had no idea that Nate Parker, who played Nat Turner, was from Virginia. And they loved the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? 12 Years of Slavery. That's the name of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, or
Oh, no,
the
no,
Rebellion.
No, that was Birth of a Nation.
Birth of a Nation,
Yeah, I was
yes.
like, no,
Yes.
Birth of a
They
Nation.
didn't even know that guy was from Virginia. They had no idea. It's like, you don't know about Virginia legends. Well, I do.
All right, so James can get ready to come in. What would you, any final words, actually?
Thank you.
Oh, you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you again. And you will see me again, because I will be like, Sai, I need you to help me with this paper. I got this paper here. I gotta write this poem. I gotta write this essay. Help me, Jesus.
Okay, well, we appreciate it. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You know how to reach us both.
Yes. And you, oh, are we thinking about you?
I'll be thinking about you too.
Oh, Lord, you gotta have her tear up. We've been doing good so much. Thank you.
I'll see you the fall. I'm here this summer, but I'm taking math. So, but I'll see you in the fall.
An amazing student.
Yes,
Thank you.